Now I'm going to tell about how Prabhupada acquired the land that Krishna Balaram Temple is on. If we go back to 1972, when that part of Brooklyn was still kind of a slum, Prabhupada talked to this couple named Saraf. They lived in a house called Saraf Bhavan, S-A-R-A-F Bhavan, and they had this land. And so Prabhupada asked them, when he was visiting, if they had any land, if they would like to either donate it or if they would want to sell it. And he said, if you want to sell it, we'll pay for it, any price. And then the husband said, well, it's kind of far away from the center of Vrindavan. And Prabhupada said, but it's still okay because it was Raman Radius, the place where Krishna and Balaram used to play together. So he said, well, think about it. And he said, we can't make anything definite now because the property that I want to give you is in my wife's name and she's not here right now. And then he engaged a devotee named Kshirodakshai Vishnu from England to develop the whole program. So they had to wait for his Mrs. Gita Devi Saraf to get back from Assam. So when she got back and they went to sign the deed, the husband went along, but he refused to sign it because he said that he wanted 54 feet of frontage to be used for his shops, which he probably wanted for financial reasons. So he wouldn't sign the deed. Then later on, after his wife got back and Kshirodakshai Vishnu was waiting for her to get back, and her husband wasn't around, Prabhupada decided he wanted the land. So they, in their house called Saraf Bhavan, they had like 6 rooms that were all in a row, like they call them railroad rooms in the United States. So Prabhupada and his followers were in room number 3, and his followers were Shyamasundar, Gurudas, Jamuna, and maybe 1 or 2 others, and Kshirodakshai, and maybe 1 or 2 others. And another person that came along was Shama Ma. She came with a retired parliamentarian and a policeman. And and she said to Mrs. Saraf, Gita Saraf, she said, but you promised me that I could have the land. So then Prabhupada said, well, I want you, and then a big argument ensued between her, Shama Ma, who was very aggressive, and the Saraf lady, who was very defensive, trying to ward off the caustic conversation. So that went on for some time, and then Prabhupada said, he said to Shama Ma and the retired parliamentarian and the policeman, just wait for me in room 5, I'll come and join you soon. So they did that. They went into the other room, but Shama Ma, she went home. She was very angry, so she went home. But the policeman and the retired parliamentarian went into that room and waited. So then Prabhupada was going back and forth between his room, the policeman's room, and other rooms, and trying to finalize the deal. Before it was finalized, she finally agreed that she would sign the deed and that they would have the 54 feet of property in ISKCON's name. And Prabhupada convinced her by saying that you're like Krishna's mother. You feel that there must be a proper gate so that they can see the temple of Krishna. And that's like a mother for her son, Krishna's like your son. So she was convinced. And Prabhupada knew this lawyer, he was actually a judge, and he was based in Mathura. And he came to visit them at their house, and the deed it took about 3 days to complete the whole thing. And according to one devotee, these kind of land deals usually take months, up to 6 months. But it was done in a matter of 3 days, and it was signed over to Prabhupada, who signed the deal, got the deed, and 3 things happened. They got the deed to the land. He was able to lay the cornerstone for the land, and he was able to get rooms in the Radha Damodar temple in perpetuity. Those 3 deeds were all signed by Prabhupada, and that's how he got the land. That was in 1972. Hare Krishna.